Hi everyone! So it's pretty crazy, but July has already come to an end. It's scary. School's starting soon. I can't believe time is passing so quickly. And it's time for another wrap-up. It's my July wrap-up. You knew that because there's a title. To be honest, I didn't really read a lot this month, but anyway, here are the books that I did read this month. The first book that I read was technically a comic book, and it's Wonder Woman by Greg Rucka. Now compared to the last Wonder Woman comic that I read, much better. It was well written, the art was nice, I liked the way the story worked. It actually turned out to be like less of a superhero punching bad guys and aliens, that kind of superhero story, and more of like a political thing. And how people with different views just can't get along ever for some reason. They just have to scream their ideas at each other and can never come to some understanding. So yeah, it was really interesting and I really liked it. And I ended up rating it 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. The next book that I read in July was A Thousand Splendid Suns by Khaled Hosseini. And if I pronounced that wrong, I'm so sorry. This is basically a story about two women who live in Afghanistan and how their stories and their lives connect. And it takes place from about the 80s, I think, to like the early 2000s, so basically a very turbulent time in Afghanistan's history. It chronicles stuff like the rise of the Taliban and all that kind of stuff. And it does tell the history and like what's going on in the country and the political state at that time, but it's told through the eyes of these people who are just living their everyday lives. So it's not like a big political novel or anything, it's just about people and then what's going on in the world around them and just how those things affect them. Anyway, it's a really, really beautiful book. I read The Kite Runner, which is also another book by this author. I read it a couple years ago and I really liked it, so I've been wanting to read the rest of his books for a long time. And I finally got around to reading one and I really loved it. I rated it 5 out of 5 stars. It's great. I did cry while reading it a couple times though, so be warned. The next book that I read and kind of didn't read was Crazy House by James Patterson and Gabrielle Charbonnet. I say I kind of didn't read this because I got about halfway through and then just stopped. I wasn't interested in the plot, I didn't care about it anymore, so I just stopped reading it. It's the first time I've DNF'd a book in so long. The most annoying thing to me was that it felt like nothing was developed. It felt like you didn't have enough time to get to know the characters and that you were just supposed to like them right away, and I didn't know why. Like, I didn't feel connected to any of the characters. I feel like there's a lot of situations that could have been more emotional, but they were just kind of skipped over because it's supposed to be more of a light-hearted feel of a book, I think. But there's a lot of serious stuff that's happening, and one serious thing will happen and the character will make a joke about it, and I'm like, what's the tone of this book supposed to be? It doesn't make any sense. And the writing style just wasn't great. I don't know, I just didn't really like it that much. So I don't know, I probably never finish it, like I don't care enough to finish it. The next book that I read is the second volume in the new rebooted Archie comic series by Mark Waid, with illustrations by Veronica Fish, Thomas Patilli, and Ryan Jampol. I've talked about this reboot in the past, and I really like it. I'm a pretty diehard Archie comics fan. I've said on multiple occasions that I don't like Riverdale, but this rebooted series does what Riverdale should have done. It reboots and modernizes the series and brings it kind of more up to date with a new art style and everything, but in a way that still remains true to the characters and their personalities and everything like that. Yeah, the story's really interesting. The characters still have the same integrity that they have in like the normal comics, but it's just an updated version. So yeah, if you're like me and you really love Archie comics, I would definitely recommend these. Even if you're a little bit nervous about the new art style or about them changing the characters too much, don't worry, they don't really change them that much. And the last book that I read in July was Slasher Girls and Monster Boys, which is a thriller/horror anthology by a bunch of different authors with a bunch of different stories, but it's edited by April Genevieve Tucholk. Didn't pronounce that right, probably. So yeah, like I said, just a big anthology of horror and thriller stories. Not the most summery book, but I've been wanting to read it for a while and I finally picked it up, so I was just kind of excited to read it. Now, I kind of wanted to do a full review on this and talk about each of the stories more in depth because I'm not going to do that here. It's going to take way too long. There's 14 stories in here and they're all very different and very interesting, and I want to talk about all of them more in depth, so I'll probably do a review on this. Some stories I always like more than others, some writing styles I like more than others, but altogether it's a really nice anthology of like kind of scary stories. And I mean, to me it wasn't like super scary. I don't get scared by books that easily, but I mean, depending on who you are and what scares you and what kind of like horror/thriller things freak you out more, then maybe it would be really scary to you. But at the same time, if you're usually scared by horror stuff, it's not super scary. So yeah, I really like this, and overall I rated it 4 out of 5 stars. So that is everything I read in July. Let me know down in the comments what you guys read in July and if you read anything that I've read. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching and I hope you have a great week. Bye! Oh, hi, hello. I'm gonna make another part of this video because I just decided that I wanted to do a 2-part thing or something else I need to talk about. Excuse the fact that I look really terrible, I just didn't feel like changing my outfit, and this is what I'm wearing today, so whatever. The Tome Topple readathon starts this week, I think on Friday. Tome Topple is basically a readathon that's dedicated to reading big books. It's not necessarily how many big books you read, it's just trying to get through those big intimidating books. And what classifies as a tome for this is any book that's over 500 pages. If you want more information on Tome Topple, I'll link videos and links to the Goodreads group down below, but I wanted to give you my TBR for Tome Topple. Tome Tome Topple runs from Friday, August 4th to Thursday, August 17th. This is my second time participating in Tome Topple. The first time I read 2 books, I think. One of them was a graphic novel. This year, though, I hope to be even more successful because the first week of Tome Topple, I'm actually on vacation up at a cottage, and to be honest, there's not going to be much else to do other than read. So I feel like I'm going to be able to get a ton of reading done, unlike last time where I was trying to read during my exam period, and that was just a mess. So here's my TBR and what I plan on reading for Tome Topple. The first book that I definitely want to read for Tome Topple is The Wise Man's Fear by Patrick Rothfuss, which is the second book in the Kingkiller Chronicles series. The first round of Tome Topple, I read The Name of the Wind, which is the first book in this series, and I decided I wanted to read the second one over vacation and for the first week of Tome Topple. I mean, look how thick these books are. It's really scary. But it's not hard to read. Like, it's not a scary book to read or get into at all. Like, it's very, very good, and I'm really excited to read this next installment in the series. The next tome that I want to read is Wayfarer by Alexandra Bracken. I've had this book since it came out, and I still haven't read it. I read Passenger, like, whenever it came out, and I liked it, and then I promptly forgot what happened in the book. So I have to reread Passenger before I read this, which is why I think I've been putting it off for so long. But Wayfarer is over 500 pages, I think, just barely. So it counts as a tome, and I'm gonna read it on vacation, I think. It's just motivation for me to finally read this and stop putting it off. Those are the books that I'll be reading on vacation that are tomes, and then the other 2 books that I have on my TBR I will read when I get back, possibly. It's all dependent on whether or not the library has them, because I don't feel like buying them, and I just want to read them if the library has them. The first one is a graphic novel, and it is Habibi, I think that's how you pronounce it, by Craig Thompson. The last round of Tome Topple, I read Blankets by Craig Thompson, and I kind of liked it. I didn't hate it. It was alright. But this one also looks really interesting, and I am excited to read it. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know what it's about. It just kind of intrigues me a little bit. I just like reading about different cultures and stuff like that, so it should be interesting. That's interesting. I thought I had another book for this list. I was gonna say A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, but it turns out that ACOTAR is actually not 500 pages. So I guess I won't be reading that one for Tome Topple. But the second book in the series is, so maybe I'll read the first book sometime and then have the next one ready for the next Tome Topple. So I guess I have 3 books on my TBR. I don't think it's a lot considering I'll be on vacation, and I think I'll have plenty of time to read. One last thing I wanted to say, I know I've been doing a lot of bookish videos recently, and I've kind of been feeling meh about that. I kind of wanted to turn this channel into like a solely booktube channel because it's hard to get an audience if you don't have just one specific thing that you're doing on your channel. But I don't want to do book videos all the time. I really like the videos I used to do, not that long ago, but the ones I used to do that were more vloggy types, or I was just like doing random tag questions. Because there's only so many things you can talk about with books, especially me because I haven't read a ton of books yet. So yeah, this is going to be a mix of booktube stuff and then just whatever else I feel like putting up. And hopefully more of an artsy feel with some of the videos too, because I really love artsy type vlogs. Like if you've seen Lucy Moon's 168 Hours vlog series, which is great by the way. I want to have more vlogs kind of like that. You know, they're more like my week or whatever, but presented in like a creative way. Anyway, I've been rambling and I'm gonna shut up now and let you finish this video because it's been going on for far too long. If you want to know anything more about Tome Topple, like I said, I'll link stuff down below. Hopefully you guys can join me. If you are participating in Tome Topple, please let me know what you're reading down below. Hopefully we can read a bunch of big books together. Right, I promise this is really the end of the video this time. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you some other time. Bye!